Namaste. Parvati Bhagini, you can chant.
Hari Om Bhagini. Hari Om Bhagini.
Please.
Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Svayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamrutavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadashaadhyayini Ambasvamanusandaddhami Bhagavad-gite Bhavadveshini Namostute Vyasavishala-buddhe Pullaravindayatapatra-netra Yena tvaya Bharatatailapurnaha Prajvalito Jnanamayah Pradipaha Prapanna-parijataya Stotravetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Geetamrutaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dobdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsastudhirbhokta Dugdham Geetamrutam Mahat Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadronatata Jayadratha-jala Gandhara-nilotpala Shalyagrahavathi kripena Vahani Karnena velakula Ashwathama vikarna ghora makara Duryodhanavartini Sotirna khalu pandavai rananadi Kaivartakah Keshavaha Parashariyava
Can others hear? Okay. Parashariyavachas sarojamamalam Geetarthagandhotkatam Nanakhyanakesaram harikatha Sambodhana bodhitam Loke sajjana षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगा ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः. Parvati Bhagini, I don't know what happened suddenly in the middle, your voice went off.
Yes, some internet problem, Bhagini. It went off like that. I was chanting, but...
okay. Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad.
नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यम् श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमतास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यम् तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. परं वरिष्ठं ब्रह्मिष्ठं परमानन्दरूपिणं परमार्थानन्दयतिं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. I hope you are all able to hear me. Okay, thank you. So, after dealing with the topic of Daivi Sampat in the first 3 verses, Lord Krishna is dealing with Asuri Sampat elaborately from verse 7 onwards. So, Daivi Sampat is those set of virtues or values which will promote the pursuit of spirituality and which will help us gain self-knowledge. Whereas, Asuri Sampat are those tendencies which will obstruct the pursuit of spirituality. So, while the Daivi Sampat promotes moksha, Asuri Sampat promotes samsara, and only through elaborate discussions we saw, right? We have to understand the central message that basically Daivi Sampat is the one that we need to promote, and for that Krishna spoke so much about Asuri Sampat, and Asuri Sampat is a tendency or a mindset because of which a person, right, values earning and enjoyment primarily, acquisition of wealth and using them for enjoyment or entertainment, right? That is Artha and Kama Purushartha are given over importance. Veda does not say that money is not important, right? It doesn't say that. It only criticizes giving over importance to them to such an extent that there is no time or no interest for the pursuit of the two higher Purusharthas, which are very, very unique to human beings. So seeking security and sense pleasure is common to human beings and animals, right? We don't need that intellect for that, right? So pursuing Arthakama and succeeding in that pursuit alone does not make us great human beings. We only prove that we are sophisticated animals if we only pursue the two. Therefore, Veda warns us that let that pursuit be given importance, but never to such an extent that dharma, that is Panchamahayajna, right, and your moksha pursuit suffers, right? Because the pursuit of dharma should help us discover the value of spirituality. This is the beautiful way in which the Hinduism is structured. Basically, the pursuit of dharma in the early years through the grihastha-ashrama, through following Panchamahayajna, will help us discover the value of spirituality, right? Tametam vedanu vachanena brahmana vividanshanti yajnena danena tapasanasha ke naitameva viditva munir bhavati. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 4.4.24, right? It is said, gradually yajna, dana, tapas, all of this which we undertake in the grihastha ashrama, all these karma in the form of punyam, dharma, alone helps us discover the importance of spiritual wisdom, right? Therefore, dharma is compulsory for a human being and it should help us discover the value for Gita. And it should help us in the pursuit of or the study of Gita, right? And if dharma and moksha pursuit does not take place, then that human life is to be strongly criticized. So if a person gives importance to Arthakama, then initially he will give up dharma, right? Later what will happen? Slowly he will start following adharma also, consisting of what? Corrupt practices, unethical practices, right? Consisting of violence, right? Unethical values. So when over importance to money and pleasure is given, unknowingly they will start compromising with values, right? So because the money will start coming, and between money and values, money will appear greater and values will be kept in the side, right? So adharma we will take up, right? And we'll also start looking at himsa, etc. as positive, right? So, and Krishna says not only it will create the immediate problem, it will also cause long-term problems, because in such a way that these practices get ingrained in our subconscious mind, right? Exactly like the way one gets addicted to cigarette smoking, right? So first you are able to say no, but after some time it takes control, and then it is there in the subconscious mind that you will not be able to prevent that. Very similar with drugs also, right? It is a lot easier to say no initially than to come out of it later, right? So here he says, Krishna, Asuri Sampat is so strong that it is more than addiction. It will start imprinting, the imprints of Asuri Sampat will get stuck in the Sukshma Shariram, and from Janma Janma it will follow you, right? Purva Janma Vasanani, and it will become deeper and deeper, right? So it is always easier to say no. So Krishna says, when the thought comes itself, nip it, right? In the birth stage itself, right? So Krishna gave a very, very frightening warning in verse 20. Mamakara aprapyaiva kaunteya janmani janmani. Janma after janma, he will fall into the ditch of animalistic life with a human physical body. So Arjuna, be careful, Krishna said in verse 20. We had actually started verse 21, right? Which we were halfway through. So Krishna wants to condense the entire teaching into one concentrated shloka here, right? What is that? Krishna says there are three unhealthy trends in human beings. which are the gateways to hell or narakam. Certainly it will not promote spiritual growth. Narakasya atmanaha nashanam trividam. Krishna says you will create your own naraka by promoting these three trends, right? Which are the three? Kamaha, Krodaha and Lobhaha. Desire, anger and non-giving. Lobhaha means stinginess, not sharing one's resources with others. It is called Lobhaha, and all these are spiritually unhealthy, right? And I don't know whether you recall, I closed the class, last week's class, with A, B, C, D, right? Desires, A, B, C, desires. A is appropriate desires, desires which are, right, which are not immoral, right, or unethical or illegitimate, right? So the first condition is make sure that your desires are appropriate. Appropriate means dharmic, legitimate. Then the second condition is balanced desires. Desires for artha and kama must be balanced by desire for dharma also, right? And in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, Shraddhaya Deyam, Ashraddhaya Deyam. Life is a series of give and take, and when taking alone is there without giving, it becomes unbalanced desires, right? So, and also desire alone is not enough. You should also make the time to implement that. So this is called balancing of the desire. So A, appropriate, B is balanced desires, and C is clean desire. Means every desire includes, including all legitimate desires, right? Now, everything has a poison in it. What is that poison? It can increase my anxiety level, worry level, fear level. Will I get it or not, right? Will this happen or not? In spite of my efforts, will this happen or not, right? Will my child get admission or not? Will my child be able to get a visa or not? Whatever it is, different kinds of problems, anxiety, worry level, etc., right? So the parents are very disturbed when it comes to children. At different stages in our life, we have different kinds of desire in profession and family, etc. Along with it, the anxiety comes. So desire has twofold toxins, right? So before you work, you have anxiety. And then when the result is not as per the expected result, the dejection itself can be so serious that it can harm everyone, right? So anxiety before the result, disappointment after the result. So the only solution to this is the karma yoga attitude, right? Taking everything as Bhagavat Prasadaha. Yadyat bhavyam bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanu rupam. In Mukundamala, it is said, whatever happens, let it happen. I will do my best, and with Ishwara Arpana Bhava, I will do it, and whatever I get, I will take it with Ishwara Prasada Bhava. So A, B, C, D, right, is appropriate, balanced, clean desires. Now, Krishna says the non-ABCD, Kama, non-ABCD, you tyaje, kama tyaje, give up, right? And then the second one he's talking about is krodaha. First one is kamaha, this which is the non-ABCD, and then the second one is krodaha, means anger, right? So scriptures are very particular about renunciation of anger. Why? Because anger is a serious threat for three important spiritual values, which are called samatvam, sukshmatvam and samadhanatvam, right? Samatvam means a tranquil and balanced mind. If we get angry and if we shout at others, it is our mind that gets impacted. Yes, with Gita studies, Shastra studies, we do have FIR reduction, and therefore we do come back, right? But by reducing or removing anger altogether, right, we have a tranquil and balanced mind. That's the first benefit. The second important virtue is sukshmatvam, enjoying a sensitive mind which can sense others' feelings, right? So empathy, compassion, etc., right? Now, empathy and sensitivity is disturbed when you are angry, right? So Shankaracharya says, Guru mapi akshipati, even Guru, the anger blinds a Shishya to such an extent that he doesn't mind even being indifferent to the Guru, right? So the anger desensitizes a person, at least temporarily. That is why, right, we call anger in certain cultures as temporary madness, because it actually destroys the mental balance. Savadhanatvam, being alert, right? So alert to what is proper and what is improper action, so that I can avoid impulsive actions which can have long-term consequences, or both short-term and long-term consequences, right? So many marriages break up, so many relationships break up because of this reason, right? So in the 17th chapter, in fact, Krishna will speak about it, and we are going to see it in the next chapter, how to apply 4 types of filters before you speak. What is taught in management sessions, Krishna has spoken about it thousands of years back, right? So Savadhanatvam means deliberate action, being alert, right? So the 3 values, balance, sensitivity, and deliberateness, all these 3 values get destroyed by anger, right? So Veda says you can get angry provided you keep these 3 in check: balance, sensitivity, and being deliberate. Which means what? Even if you have to get angry because you have to correct somebody in office or whatever it is, you have to have your emotions under control and then express your displeasure in a responsible manner, in a thought through manner, right? So very difficult, but when you start practicing, that's why they say count 7 before you speak, etc., or count 10. So then the last one is what? Lobha, means the tendency to hold on to everything and not to part with it, right? Not to part with wealth, with others, no charity, etc. Therefore, Krishna says, Tasmat etatrayam tyajet. Continuing, Etair vimukta kaunteya, Etair vimukta kaunteya, Tamodvaraistribhirnarah, Tamodharaistribhirnarah, Acharatyatmana shreyah, Acharatyatmana shreyah, Tato yati param gatim, Tato yati param gatim. So, etaihi tamodvaraihi muktaha. If a person understands the negative effect of kama, krodha, lobha, gradually he dilutes them, and the person will have FIR reduction. Normally, if for one mistake a person shouts for 3 hours, then it will come down to 1 hour, right? Then the intensity will come down. Then, you know, the person will quickly recover from that anger, right? So you will see this improvement, right? So giving time, energy, and attention to dharma is the first step towards spirituality. So that Krishna is saying here, Atmanaha Shreyah Acharati. A person will start with dharma, that is Pancha Mahayajna, slowly, which includes Brahma Yajna also, right? And he'll start studying Gita, etc. Once dharma increases, desire for Atma Jnanam will become more and more. Then I will find more time for Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So dharma to moksha pursuit to moksha itself. Therefore, Krishna says, Atmanaha Shreyaha. One will work for one's own ultimate good, right? So, Shreyaha is the ultimate goal in life, right? So, now we all have 2 aspects of the self, matter and spirit. So, Atma here refers to the spiritual component, the consciousness part, right? And our pursuit must actually be a combination of both spiritual and material pursuit, because our self is also a combination of both. But unfortunately, because most part of our life we are not even aware of the spiritual component, we don't even take up to dharma and then later on moksha pursuit, right? So Vedic life is designed for attaining moksha in the current janma itself, right? Very, very important. Kathopanishad, you see Yamadharma Raja actually asking Nachiketa. And Nachiketa, as a 9-10-year-old boy, is able to say that I want Shreyaha, right? And I don't want all these material benefits, right? So, O Arjuna, freed from these 3 gates of hell, right? That is Kama, Krodha and Lobha, a man pursues what is good for himself and thus attains the supreme goal. Continuing, Yashastra vidhimutsrujya vartate kamakaratah na sa siddhimavapnoti na sukam na param gatim. Nasukam na param gatim. The scriptures alone talk about balancing material pursuit and spiritual pursuit. Previously, the Vedic society and the Vedic lifestyle was designed in such a way that there is time for material and spiritual pursuit. So even before the ashramas came, brahmacharya, grihastha etc., everything was designed in such a way that we know how to balance both of them. Once the scriptural leaning goes away and we have only the modern education, right? It will only talk about getting employment, various skills, job, right? Money, sense pleasures, and the non-scriptural literature will talk about only successful material pursuit. Only when you study the scriptures that will talk about the spiritual pursuit also. So not replacing material pursuit, right? Earning well is not a problem, but you have to find for both. Therefore, Krishna says, may your life be governed, right, by spiritual teaching. That must be the GPS of your life, the positioning system of your life. And Bhagavad Gita teaching, and Krishna warns very clearly in Gita, if you refuse to follow the scriptures, you will find material pursuit can never give you total fulfillment. Money will appear to be wonderful, but once we reach the top, it is not as meaningful as we thought. It is only a distant pasture, and we think it is greener. It can never give you the fulfillment because materialism is Maya. Maya is hollow. So Brahman, the spirit alone is the content, and Maya can't give real fulfillment. Therefore, Krishna warns, Yaha Shastra Vidim Utsrujya, those people who refuse to take the guidelines of the Shastra and Kama Karataha, and they go by their own Ragadvesha, right? So it is the impulsive sensory desires, Kama Karataha, right? So Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti, he can't achieve anything, especially the mental purity, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti that we saw in introduction to Vedanta, right? So we will not be able to get nasukam, he will not get real joy also, right? And therefore not na param gatim, he will not get moksha also. At the end, only he will have a regret, right? So therefore, a very strong warning in this verse to go by the scriptural guidance. And that is why those who follow the scriptures, right, are called Vaidikaha, followers of the Veda, right? Or Sanatana Dharminaha, right? Dharma means teaching, eternal teachings of the scripture. They are called Vaidikaha or Sanatana Dharmi. Hinduism is a later name for this. Therefore, may you be a Vaidika, a real Hindu worth the name, right? Therefore, Krishna gives the final advice. And in fact, I have a request to make of several of you who are here. If at all you get some time to speak to Hindus around you, they don't even have to come to Gita, to Upanishad, to any of them. But just attending introduction to Vedanta, right, those 11 hours, gives a beautiful overview of what our Hinduism is all about. And then you decide whether Gita has something to offer you or not. But unfortunately, what is happening amongst us is the Hindus don't even know that there is a scriptural side which talks about the consciousness aspect of the human being so much. We are so tuned through science to think of the body as only the material body, the Pancha Bhautika body. So if people can even spend those, of course, within 11 hours, we can try to have an overview, nothing short of that, right? But that is when people will at least get exposed to, oh, here is a totally new subject which we need to embark upon if we need to do something about our life and be contented. So at least in the last 1 century, I think we are losing out on this aspect of even awareness, right? That is the biggest issue. Continuing. तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुमिहार्हसि karma kartumiharhasi. Therefore, Arjuna, never be guided by your own ragadvesha, most of which are instinctive and are selfishness governed, right? May you be governed by dharma and adharma. And for that, you need to go to the scriptural injunctions, right? So, may you fulfill your legitimate and proper desires. Let Shastra be the guiding book. Pramanam. Pramanam te karya akarya vyavastito, with regard to what is to be done and what is to not to be done, right? So, and having learned what is dharmic and what is adharmic from the Shastra, right? So, dharmic is here called Daivi Sampat and adharmic is Asuri Sampat. Therefore, use the 16th chapter as your guideline, right? The 26 verses which are virtues which are mentioned in the first 3 verses. Then, of course, Kama, Krodha, Lobha also you note down, right? And every time we watch this and constantly filter. So, Jnatva and Kritva, so may you try to implement. We may not be 100% successful in one day, but gradually can we start reducing the Asuri Sampat, right? Daivi Sampat increase and Asuri Sampat decrease. Jnatva and Kritva Shastra Vidana Uttam, right? Vidana means instructions. Karmam Kartum Arhasi. You have to do your duty. And in the battlefield, Arjuna's question was whether Mahabharata Yuddha is legitimate or illegitimate. That was his confusion. And a legitimate Yuddham will also have to be fought, right? Where we have to defend Dharma and eliminate adharma. For that use peaceful methods are used first to eliminate adharma, and only when peaceful methods fail, you will have to use force for dharma protection. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. We have to do that. Therefore, Arjuna, follow your duty. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे दैवासुरसम्पद्विभागयोगो नाम षोडशोऽध्यायः. दैवासुरसम्पद्विभागयोगो नाम षोडशोऽध्यायः. So I'll give you a summary of this today because it's a short chapter. I can complete it hopefully in half an hour. So we must remember a little bit of how this teaching has come about. Now the entire Gita Krishna said, is a teaching given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, and the teaching has been extracted, right, from the Shastra itself, right? So Lord Krishna himself explicitly says that whenever an opportunity comes. So Sri Bhagavan Vacha, in the 4th chapter, he said, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam. In the 4th chapter, the Lord says, I am not teaching anything new. The original wisdom contained in the Veda seems to be fading away gradually in time, and my aim is only to revive the Vedic teaching, and therefore we need to remember all the time that the Vedic essence is what is contained in the Gita. So the essence of the Veda is what? Liberation is the primary goal of life, called moksha, and it is possible only through self-knowledge or jnanam. And there are no multiple methods to attain moksha. There is only one method, which is called self-knowledge or atma jnanam. In fact, liberation is freedom from self-ignorance alone. And according to the Veda, as long as we don't discover our real nature, as long as self-ignorance continues, the fundamental human problems will continue in the form of sense of insecurity. An insecurity which we start feeling right from the birth, because of which we cling on to parents, then spouse, then children, then grandchildren, etc. So this alone expresses in the form of worry, anxiety, etc. So not only there is a sense of insecurity in the current life, for the people who are born in the Hindu culture, they are also worried about how will I be born in the next Janma, because I may have done more papam, etc. So the anxiety is more with respect to the next Janma also, right? So Veda says this remote possibility of something coming up in the next Janma, or something that can hit us in the future, right? That worry is an expression of samsara, and it can never go away unless the fundamental issue of self-ignorance is solved. So Veda is very clear. All the other goals called dharma, artha or kama, which are called the human purusharthas, they also can't solve the problem, right? They are all ephemeral, impermanent. They all give us more and more insecurity. Therefore, in fact, in Kathopanishad, it is said, Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirveda mayanastya krita kritena. Tad vijnanartham, sorry, Mundaka Upanishad, Tad vijnanartham sa gurumeva vigachet samitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Having examined the world which are achieved through karma, right, a brahmana or a student should come to dispassion, and he should approach the teacher, right, with the sammit in hand, right? So pariksha lokan karmachitan, having experimented with various impermanent things, he has to conclude, he has to discern that moksha is the permanent solution, right? So therefore, the spiritual journey begins when I recognize that the spiritual journey is needed in pursuit of self-knowledge, right? So Lord Krishna also makes it clear in the very beginning of the Gita, right? So moksha is the ultimate goal. A person has to realize that. So the Gita teaching basically commences in the 11th verse of the 2nd chapter, Ashosyanan Vashochastvam Prajnavadanscha Bhashase, right? Gatasuna Gatasuncha Nanushochanti Panditaha. So the first teaching is that self-knowledge is the primary goal. So Krishna starts his teaching by saying, right, spiritual wisdom is remedy to your grief, right? It starts this way, right? And Arjuna is clinging for moral support. The Mahabharata battle is about to start, and Duryodhana is there, Bhishma is there, Drona is there, and Krishna gets, Arjuna gets very, very anxious and despondent. And then Krishna started the teaching, and he says, Panditaha na Anushochanti. Right? Panda means self-knowledge. Panditaha means spiritually enlightened people alone will cross the problem. Therefore, the first teaching is that the self-knowledge is the primary goal. Right? Then, thereafter, Veda says, even though self-knowledge can solve the problem, for the acquisition of self-knowledge, my mind must be prepared, right? Just as when there is a health problem and the doctor has diagnosed the problem, he knows what surgery has to be done, but what does he do? He checks the BP, he checks the blood sugar, he checks the weight, he checks cholesterol, and then he makes sure that all these parameters are normal before the surgery is undertaken, right? So basically the prerequisites are called what? Yogyata praptihi, right? So here for surgery, it is the surgery yogyata praptihi, right? Here in the case of the self-ignorance, it is the dissectomy of, I should say, the self-ignorance itself. That is called yogyata prapti, right? And in fact, in Guru Gita, which is the Guru Stotram that we say in Chinmaya Mission and Swami Dayananda Saraswati's ashrama, Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So Ajnanam has to be surgically removed, right? And one has to be surgery varti. This is called Yogyata Praptihi, Jnana Yogyata Praptihi, right? Is the first part, right? And Krishna tells in the 3rd chapter, Lokesmin Dvivida Nishta Pura Prokta Mayanagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yogina. O sinless one, there are twofold disciplines in this world, right? Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, right? For the Grihasthashramis, so that they can gain Jnana Yogyata and then they can pursue the spiritual journey. And Karma Yoga is for Yogyata Prapti, right? Fitness for Jnanam, basically. And Jnana Yoga is meant for Jnana Prapti. Thus, these two, everyone has to go through. Prepare for the knowledge, gain knowledge, and therefore the Bhagavad Gita has got 2 levels of teaching which are parallelly going on. I don't know whether many of you would have observed that, but now you can discern. One is the Karma Yoga teaching inherent throughout the Gita, right? And this Karma Yoga teaching is meant for the junior students who has to focus on that and prepare the mind. The same Gita has got an appeal for the senior student. The Jnana Yoga running throughout the Gita, right? So that is why at the end of every chapter, we just now chanted, Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Brahma Vidyayam referring to Jnana Yoga and Yoga Shastra referring to Karma Yoga. Both of them are running in parallel. So every student has to study Gita twice. As a junior student, I have to focus on Karma Yoga component of the Gita, prepare myself, and once I am reasonably prepared, again I go through the same Gita, focusing on the Jnana Yoga component of the Gita. Thus, Gita is relevant for both the junior student as well as the senior student, only the focus will shift. And as I explained already, Bhakti Yoga is not a separate yoga. It is running in and through both Karma Yoga as well as Jnana Yoga. Yama Bhakta in both cases, right? So, both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are presented in a very neat manner in the Gita. In the first 6 chapters of the Gita, Krishna talks about the essential nature of the Jiva. Then that is the individual or Jiva Swarupam, right? In the second 6 chapters of the Gita, Krishna talks about the essential nature of Ishvara, Jiva Swarupam and Ishvara Swarupam. In the last 6 chapters, Krishna speaks about Jiva and Ishvara, right? They are superficially different, but if you probe into their essential nature, Jivatma is also Atma, Paramatma is also Atma. There is only Eka Atma. The essential truth is the same, exactly like a wave and ocean, right? So ocean is just a permanent wave. Ocean is one, waves are many, right? When you probe into their real nature, you find that wave is nothing but water with a particular nama and rupa, name and form. Ocean is also nothing but water with another name and form. So Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam, right? And that is basically what we are, in pursuit of, and that is called Jnana Yoga, and that is achieved through Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So Bhagavad Gita develops this topic very well, right? So in the first 6 chapters, you will see Jiva's nature. Similarly, you will see Ishvara in the second 6. And in the 13th chapter, we saw Kshetrajnam Chapi Mam Vidhi Kshetra Kshetreshu Bharata. Arjuna, you and I are basically one Atma only. And that Advaita Jnanam is gained through Jnana Yoga by a prepared student. We saw Krishna saying that, right? So he also knows, Krishna, that there are junior students. So Krishna says that the same Gita focuses on the Karma Yoga part as well as the Jnana Yoga part. So first you go through the Gita, expose yourself, but focus on Jnana Yogyata Prapti and keep on listening, and gradually you will start understanding more and more, and you can go through the Jnana Yoga portion, right? So lower strata is Karma Yoga part, and then you have the Jnana Yoga part in the higher thing. And both of them run in and through the Gita, right? So we also saw in the first 6 chapters, Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of our effort, prayatnaha. Don't be fatalistic. In the 6th chapter, we saw a very, very important verse, Uddared Atmanatmanam Atmanam Avasadayed. Atmaiva Khyatmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. So you have to contribute to your future, right? You are your own friend. So if you don't have confidence in yourself, you will become your own enemy. So don't be fatalistic, right? So very, very clear warning here on prayatna. So prayatna and atma shraddha, right? In the faith in the self, confidence, right? Then more than the faith in God, Guru, Shastra, etc. That is what has been emphasized, and Bhagavan guarantees in several places, right? Don't worry, I'll help you out, right? Name bhakta pranashyati abhichet. Never will my, even the worst sinner, right? He will come out of this, right? Bhagavan gives guarantee. Therefore, prayatna and atma shraddha are highlighted as a jnana yogyata prapti, that is highlighted in the first 6 chapters. In the second 6 chapters, Lord Krishna highlights sharanagati and Ishvara anugraha, the grace of the Lord, right? So this was highlighted in the second 6 chapters of the Gita, right? And in the 7th chapter beginning, we saw Bhagavan telling Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Yunjanma Dashrayah. Ishvara's grace, like the solar rays, are always available, right? We just need to tap it. The cell required, the battery required is Nishkama Puja, right? And then we will all get Ishvara Anugraha. And once you get an opportunity for Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, everything will slowly fall in place, right? And you continue with your Ishvara Anugraha Bhavana, Ishvara Prasada Bhavana, etc. Right? So Ishvara Anugraha and Prayatna put together will, right, result in Jnana Yogyata Prapti, and then the Jnana Yoga study itself an opportunity, right, for the scriptural study. In the last 6 chapters, right, Jnana Yogyata Praptyartham, Bhagavan gives a series of values which are meant to develop the discipline in life and to develop character or moral values. So refinement of my character and refining my discipline, these two are very, very important, right? By discipline, we mean our own organs, right? which are available to us as an instrument of spiritual pursuit. So a sense organ can be addicted to various things, right? Watching TV is also an addiction, right? Wanting to have coffee 30 times a day, 20 times a day is also addiction, right? And mind is also a slave of involuntary thoughts, right? So all emotional disturbances are involuntary thoughts. That means mind is no more in my control if I allow involuntary thoughts to arise, right? So through these values, right, the focus is now on not only assimilating values, but also making sure that we discipline the sense organs, right? Thought discipline, mental discipline, sensory discipline, body discipline, food discipline, right? So we saw in the 17th verse of the 6th chapter, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Yukta ahara vikarasya. There's one part of is all discipline development through yoga, Ashtanga yoga, right? So through that you integrate your entire body. Then manasi ekam, vachasi ekam, karmani ekam, mahatmanam, right? Manasi anyat. They don't have, the Mahatmas don't have all these is different. Whether it is mind thinking, what you speak and what you do, everything is integrated, right? So integration of the personality comes under Jnana Yogyata Praptihi, right? So all these gunas are values, right? So Prayatna, Anugraha and Sadgunaha, they are all exercises for Jnana Yogyata Prapti. So a junior student focuses on this. A senior student focuses on Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam or Tadu Tvamasi Mahavakyam, right? So approaching Gita as a Mahavakyam is for senior students. Approaching Gita as a book for self-growth, personality development, right? When you do that, then you approach that in this manner, then it becomes, it is clear that we are a junior student, right? And Gita caters to both of them, right? So in the 13th chapter, we saw a set of values. You remember Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshanti Marjavam. We saw in 3 verses, right? So he felt that, Krishna has felt that this was not sufficient. So he is spending 2 chapters elaborating this. So we must understand the context. That is why I'm spending this time here explaining. So those 5 verses of the 13th chapter are being, which 5? The 5 in the 13th chapter, verse 8 to 12, right? That is being elaborated here in the 16th and 17th chapter, okay? So in the 13th chapter, he named the positive values as Jnanam and the negative tendencies as Ajnanam. Here it is called Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat in the 16th chapter, and in the 17th chapter they will be renamed and of course presented very differently as Satvika Dharma, Rajasika and Tamasika. As Swamiji says, the Sikhs make them sick. So Satvika, that is Vika, then Rajasika and Tamasika. We will see that elaborately in the 17th chapter, right? And he's going to talk about different methods also, different aspects also. So the topic-wise breakup here is verses 1 to 3 is positive values. Then you have Asuri Sampat from 4 to 21. And then the importance of Shastra and the conclusion which we saw today. So verse 4 to 21 is Asuri Sampat or unhealthy tendencies or Vasanani, right? Which we have to somehow kick and develop Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, and we have to make sure that we get rid of or reduce Kama, Krodha and Lobha, which are very, very serious problems, right? Gradually we have to learn to handle them. So Asuri Sampat is to be avoided, which is from verse 4 to 21. Then from 22 to 24, Lord Krishna says, take the help of the scriptures, right? Which is the Veda Purva Bhaga, right? And what is Dharma and Adharma? Create Dharma, Adharma, Viveka, right? even before Atma Anatma Vivekaha, right? So first you know what is dharma and adharma and use the scriptures, right? And so the junior students need the help of the Veda Purva Bhaga, right? So in different places of the scriptures we find them, right? So the first aspect is awareness or vivekaha, right? Then what can you do to cultivate these, good habits? Second is prarthana, right? It means prarthana to the Lord for giving all the Daivi Sampati. Very beautiful. You have the 5 Shanti Patas. Then you have Kamalaja Daita Ashtakam, right? See, if you see, I have in fact given the links to the Kamalaja Daita Ashtakam. Bombay Jayashree has sung very well, and she in fact allowed us to put it up here. So I again put the links here. You can download them, right? Kamalaja Daitashtakam is a very beautiful set of shlokas which focus a lot on acquiring sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, especially Shamali Shatka sampatti. It also talks about how it's a prayer, right, to Saraswati Devi, very nice, and you can chant that, and that is very good for sadhana chatushtaya sampatti and values creation, right? Or anything also like Vishnu Sahasranamam, Aditya Hridayam. You can always ask for good virtues, Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham, right? And then, so first is being aware, second is the prarthana, and then the third one is the Pratipaksha Bhavana, countering every negative feeling, right? Desire or greed, right? By neutralizing each one of them. Anger by patience, right? Desire or greed by contentment or charity, like that. Pratipaksha Bhavana. The fourth method is Sankalpa. They are giving a strong auto suggestion in the morning saying that today I am going to be extremely watchful about this particular value, right? So that is Sankalpa, a very simple discipline, and or maintaining Vedantic journals, etc. The fifth one is Satsanga. Being or associating yourself with people who have character and discipline and who have similar interests is very, very important, right? Because otherwise, when you listen to Gita class, there will be 10 others who will say, oh, you're just 30, you're only 40, you're only 60. Why should you listen to Gita? You still have time. You must be busy running around and doing other things. This is Gita class is for not even post-retirement, it's for after 70 years, etc. Right? So satsanga becomes very, very important, right? And we must avoid dussanga or people who are not conducive for this spiritual journey, right? So viveka, prarthana, pratipaksha bhavana, nivritti, sankalpaha and satsangaha, right? So by following them, we can improve our Daivi Sampat. And I also continue to listen to Gita, and Aham Brahmasmi Jnanam will one day become practical, right? So 16th chapter focuses on character building, and 17th is going to discuss actual disciplines, right? So we will learn about those disciplines from the next chapter onwards. So the list of Daivi Sampat in simple English. If you like this, you can take a printout and keep. Or this is also, Asuri Sampat in simple English. Right? So I'll complete and then we'll take questions. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There's a question here. About making others aware. There were many free Gita classes from ISKCON which I attended just to see how and what is being taught. But the cult-like features put me off. How to go about finding the right direction to learn the scriptures? I've been attending your classes for long and I like and follow your teachings, but it is only weekly. Okay. And it's getting confusing at this point for me. Please guide. Okay. There are two responses to this. First is, initially, it is better to revise the class after you attend one class, because this is a gradual build-up. It is now almost 3 years. We started with Introduction to Vedanta, it's more than 3 years. And then we started doing Gita, etc. So one way is to revise regularly and you will be able to relate to this much better. The other thing is, if you really want to go about this in a methodical manner and you want to listen to this every day, then there is an app, right, called Shastra Prakashika app, right? So the Shastra Prakashika app has all of Swami Paramarthananda's lectures, and he is a very great teacher, very methodical. His style is extremely good, and you can write to me. You can drop me a mail and I will also give you the order in which you have to do it. There is an order. Basically, you start with the Introduction to Vedanta, then you do Gita, then you do a little bit of Prakarana Grantha, which means other books by various acharyas in between. And then there is an order in which you approach Upanishad. There is a very structured program by which you can actually approach the spiritual journey. So you could do both. You could maybe listen to Gita again from the beginning in a methodical manner, because that's how Swamiji taught me, and that's exactly the way that I'm following now. Otherwise, you can also download from the Shastra Prakashika app. Shastra Prakashika, SASTRA, Shastra Prakashika without a gap, PRAKASIKA app. It's an app. So in the app store, you just go and type Shastra Prakashika, you will get it. Pratipaksha Bhavana, please elaborate. Basically, what I said was, one of the methods, right, to create value is, if there is an Asuri Sampat, then you practice the opposite of that Asuri Sampat. For example, if a person is by nature stingy, then consciously practice charity, right? Push yourself to practice charity. That is Pratipaksha Bhavana. Or if a person is, say, getting angry a lot, then you remember every day that I have to practice endurance, titiksha, right? And then you cultivate that through sankalpa as well as the opposite value, right? So you take a firm resolve that today I will not do this. And then you can also maintain a Vedanta journal or a diary so that you know where you are. Yeah, it is Shastra Prakashika. Yes, Ramaya ji. Okay, my email ID is very simple. Sivaraman, SIVARAMAN .Rama, RAMA @gmail.com. Okay, or you can also write to Sanskrit from home, they will send it to me. There is one more. At times, those who are sensitive get caught in the emotions and situations of other people. It becomes difficult to think that it is their karma and they are suffering. How does one manage that? Yeah, this akartrutvam and abhoktrutvam, one needs to practice consciously, and it will only through Panchamaha Yajna and Ishvara Arpana Bhava you can develop that. And it's a journey. Right? About making others aware, that I already read. Okay. Okay, I think that's all. There are no other questions here. Let me see if any other hands are up here. No, none. So Hari Om, and we will start the 17th chapter in the next class. Hari Om.